What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB action here on Thursday, June 6th. Pretty crazy Wednesday out there, guys. Did not exactly go how we were hoping it would. I mean, Atlanta minus 105, that was the early game. We saw Atlanta lose 9-0, so I don't think really anybody in the whole industry saw that coming. The under there in the Cincinnati-Colorado game also didn't come through, but we did hit the Tampa Bay Rays minus 120. That one worked out. The Yankees minus 1.5. We got that one at plus 110. That one came through as well, so we'll definitely take the Yankees again, working out for us. The Orioles lost there in the bottom of the ninth inning, so that was pretty devastating stuff there. They hung with them the whole game. I guess we should have been on the under in that game, but yeah, that one didn't work out for us. We did also see the White Sox and Cubs have another very offense-filled game, which is pretty weird, but the Phillies minus 1.5, though, that late addition, you guys got to be keeping track here of the pinned comment. We did hit the Phillies minus 1.5 for plus 110 on that one also. We weren't able to put that one out in the initial pinned comment the night before because there wasn't a starter confirmed for the Brewers at time of recording, so we were able to sneak that one in there and get you guys a little bit of added value though. But 3 and 4 on the day, not what we were looking for, so we're going to try and get back on track here on this short Thursday slate and see if we can find some value. First, guys, do me a big favor and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in here every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description and go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking today and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below, which can be updated throughout the day. Now let's get into our first game of the day, guys. We got the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Baltimore comes into this game fresh off of that 3-2 loss we were just talking about there in game 3 of this series. Pretty disappointing to see them take the L there, but they are 39-21 in the season, so probably not feeling bad about that. And we unfortunately do not have a confirmed starter yet for this game. I mean, in general, we haven't seen the Orioles have too much trouble in terms of their pitching, guys. They're a MLB 4th, so not quite best, but 4th in the majors with a team earned run average of 3.25. They're 9th in quality starts. They're 5th in whip. Like, this is a team, they're 4th in batting average allowed. Like, this is a fantastic pitching staff just up and down the roster. And in terms of their bullpen, also not bad at all. A 3.32 bullpen ERA has them 6th in the majors, so that will certainly work. No complaints here for me about the Orioles pitching staff. So really, not quite anybody, but just about anyone they put out there on the mound is going to have a chance in this game. And with the way the Orioles can swing the bats, guys, they should have a chance against almost anyone. They did only score 2 runs there. I mean, the Blue Jays were putting their ace out there on the mound, don't get me wrong, but in general, we do expect a little bit better from that in the Orioles in this game. I mean, they've been really good offensively all season long. They're 4th in the majors in runs scored, 9th in the majors in team batting average. They're getting on base at a 310 clip, which obviously isn't amazing, but it's around league average, and they are 1st in the majors, guys, with a team slugging percentage of 446. Like, that is crazy, crazy stuff. They absolutely hit the cover off the ball when they make contact. We see Gunnar Henderson killing it. Like, no notes here for this team. They're obviously in a bounce back spot after scoring only 2 runs there in game 3 of this series. So definitely expecting things to pick up for the Orioles offense. They're going to need to going up against the Blue Jays, who come into this game fresh off of that much needed win there. They're only 29-32 on the season, so not where they were hoping to be. They're handing the ball in this game to Yusei Kikuchi, who's 2-5 on the season with a 3.66 ERA. He's coming off of a pretty bad start there against the Pirates. He was at home for that one, but he gave up 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 6 runs overall, including a home run in 5 1/3 innings. Like, that is not a very good start at all. And we can look at some past history he had against Baltimore. I mean, back on the 15th, he pitched against the Orioles. He went 4 1/3 innings, so not very deep into the game. He gave up 6 hits, only a single earned run, but he did give up a home run. He struck out 9 over those 4 1/3, but man, he was definitely getting touched up, and he has not been having a good time over his last 4 starts. Also, it's kind of interesting. We see that the Blue Jays are actually 0-5 over his last 5 starts, so that's not exactly a fantastic sign for this team or this starter. Toronto, in terms of their bullpen, has not been amazing. They're 24th in the majors with a bullpen ERA of 4.32, so that's also not exactly what you're wanting to see. And this offense hasn't been great. I mean, they only scored 3 runs here in this win, so not crazy numbers there. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in the majors, batting .233 as a team. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is really the only guy on this roster that we're even kind of scared to see at the plate. And yeah, this team doesn't have a high slugging percentage. Not a good offensive team. Like, any way you cut it, this is not an offense you're very scared of. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the odds makers have the Orioles at minus 104, the Blue Jays at minus 112, and we've got an over-under in this game of 8. We see Baltimore is an MLB best on the road. They're 18-8 on the road this season, so that's very respectable. We see that Toronto is only 14-15 at home, so that's not great. We see the Blue Jays are showing some trends towards the under. We see Baltimore showing some trends towards the over. Kind of hard to peg the over-under here without having a confirmed starter, and I won't be putting this in the pinned comment until we find out for sure who the Orioles are starting, so keep an eye on that one, but I definitely tend to look at the Orioles as a pretty solid play and a bounce-back spot for this game. I mean, I think the bats can come alive here a little bit against Kikuchi, somebody that hasn't had a crazy amount of success against them or a crazy amount of success lately, so go ahead and give me Baltimore in this one as a tentative lean, but we have to see who they're going to actually put out there on the mound. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Kansas City Royals going on the road here to take on the Cleveland Guardians. We saw the game that was supposed to be yesterday get postponed, so we're looking at a Singer against Bybee matchup in this one. The last time these two teams played was the day before yesterday, where we saw Cleveland come away with that comeback win. They won 8-5 after being down. I'm pretty sure they were down 5-0 in that game, so a disappointing collapse there from the Royals, who haven't really been a team prone to collapses, but haven't been having a very good time lately. I mean, really struggling. They've lost 7 of their last 9 games overall, so that's not great. They're handing the ball to Singer in this one, hoping he can stop the bleeding. He's 4-2 on the season with a 2.63 ERA. He's coming off of a pretty good start there against the Tampa Bay Rays, a team that's kind of surging a little bit at the moment. He went 5 innings, gave only a single earned run in that start. The start before that against the Oakland A's, he was very good. We've also seen the Royals go 4-1 over his last 5 starts, with the only loss coming against Seattle, and that was on the road, where the Royals are not nearly as good. They are playing on the road in this game also, so that's definitely something to take into consideration. The Royals bullpen in general has been a top 10 bullpen so far this season. I mean, not maybe having the greatest time lately, but they are still sporting a bullpen ERA of 3.60, which is 9th in the majors, so nothing to turn your nose up at, even if they are having a little bit of a rough time lately. And these bats, guys, have been something of a problem. I mean, they did score 5 runs in that game, but then absolutely, like, the scoring was shut off, so not prolonged solid scoring there. But in general, this isn't an offense we feel terrible about, but right now we maybe don't feel amazing about them either. They're going to need to find a way to put together something here against the Cleveland Guardians, who come into this game 40-20 on the season. They're handing the ball in this game to Tanner Bybee, who's 4-1 on the year with a 3.74 ERA. We actually see that Cleveland is 5-0 over his last 5 starts. His last time out, he dominated the Washington Nationals, giving up only a single earned run over 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits allowed. He struck out 7 and walked 1, and he has just been looking lights out over, we'll say, at least his last 4 starts. Maybe his start against the Angels wasn't amazing, but he got enough run support there to get the job done, and in general has been getting run support and pitching really well as of late. The Cleveland bullpen in general, guys, has also been top 10. They're 7th in the majors with a 3.50 bullpen ERA, so nothing to turn your nose up at there. And they've been swinging the bats a little bit better. I mean, over their last 4 games, they've scored 8, 2, 3, and 7 runs respectively, so not terrible. We've seen this team start to get healthy here. Having Stephen Kwan back out there in left field is definitely going to be a boost for them, and in general, I think we can look at this as a plus level offense. I mean, they're tied for 2nd place in the majors with 306 runs scored. They're 10th in the majors in slugging percentage, 8th in the majors getting on base at a 315 clip. They're about an average batting average team, but that's not a problem. We see Jose Ramirez absolutely killing the ball pretty much all season long. I mean, a 272 batting average, 16 home runs, and 58 RBIs is nothing to scoff at. So in general, guys, Cleveland comes into this game looking pretty good, and the odds makers agree with us. They've got the Royals at plus 142, the Guardians at minus 168, and we've got an over-under in this game of an even 8. None of these numbers get me like super pumped. I mean, I think we definitely have to consider taking Cleveland at home with Bybee looking so good recently, and the Royals plus 142, I just really can't get behind it. They haven't looked great over the last, like at least 9 games, maybe more than that, to be honest, and they're not hitting the ball well. They're not pitching particularly well, so go ahead and give me the Guardians minus 168 as a small lean in this game, but I don't think it's going to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the Oakland A's. These two teams are currently playing right now. They're in the bottom of the 5th inning with Oakland up 1-0, but obviously still a very long way to go in that game. Not seeing a ton of offense in it, though. Looking at the Mariners coming into this one, they've been playing really well. I mean, they've won 4 in a row headed into the game they're currently playing, so we'll see if they can run that winning streak to 5, but in general, they've got to feel great about how things have looked so far this season. They're 35-27 on the year, handing the ball to Brian Wu, who's 2-0 this season with a 1.30 ERA, coming off a dominant start there against the Angels. We see Seattle is 5-0 in his last 5 starts. His last time out, he only gave up 3 hits, no runs, and struck out 2 over 6 innings. This dude has pitched at least 6 innings in each of his last 3 starts. He had a dazzling start there against the Yankees. He had a very good start against the Royals. He's got a good start under his belt there against the Oakland A's back on the 10th, where he went 4 1/3, gave up only a single hit and struck out 3. So yeah, dude is looking absolutely amazing. Brian Wu, not a bad pitcher at all. Just absolutely killing it so far this season, and the Mariners bullpen has been fantastic. They're third in the majors with a 3.06 bullpen ERA. The question for this team, as usual though, is their bats, guys. Are they going to be able to put together any offense at all? It's always a big question mark. I mean, over their last few games, they've scored 4, 5, 9, 5, and 0 runs. In this game so far, through 5 innings, they've scored 0 runs, so not super high on this offense. They're 25th in the majors in runs scored, 29th, so almost last in the majors in team batting average, batting only .223 as a squad. Their on-base percentage is just under 300, so that's not great. Just not a good offensive team. They're going to have to put together some sort of offense here going up against the Athletics, who haven't been having a great time. I mean, they lost 5 of 6 coming into game 2 of this series, so we'll see if they're able to hold on to that 1-run lead that they've got right now in the bottom of the 5th, but that seems a little bit precarious to me. They're handing the ball in this game to JP Sears, who's 4-4 in the season with a 4.01 ERA. He's coming off a mediocre start there at Atlanta, where he went 7 innings, gave up 6 hits and 4 earned runs. I mean, I guess 4 earned runs at Atlanta isn't terrible, but it's also not going to put a team like the Athletics in a position to win. And also, whenever this guy comes out of the game, you have to be pretty concerned about the fact you're handing the ball off to the Oakland Athletics bullpen. They've got a 4.28 bullpen ERA. That's good for 22nd in the majors. And yeah, guys, just not a very good bullpen in general. Not one that you can trust. They have not had a great time this season, and neither has this offense. They're 28th in the major leagues in team batting average, 28th in the majors with an on-base percentage that's even lower than the Seattle Mariners on-base percentage. Just not a good hitting team at all. Nobody out there that I'm really scared of. I mean, I guess Brent Rooker is decent. I'll give him some kudos here, but he's not exactly a slugger that I think is going to be carrying this team to a lot of wins. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Mariners at -132, the A's at +115, and we got an over/under of 8 in this game. I'm very interested in the Seattle Mariners -132 in this game. I'm also interested in the under. On this short slate, guys, there's some chance that both of those plays could end up in the pinned comment. One of them for sure will. I think it's for sure the Mariners -132 is going to end up in there, and we'll see if we have the guts to put another underplay in there after unders got absolutely destroyed yesterday. So just kind of have to wait and see, but Seattle -132 definitely going in the pinned comment with Brian Wu on the mound. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Dodgers come into this game fresh off of another embarrassing loss. They lost 1-0 in game 1 of the series. Then they lost 10-6 with Skeens absolutely killing it out there. And then the Pirates bullpen obviously not looking amazing. But in general, a 10-6 win is definitely something the Pirates will take, and definitely something the Dodgers were not thinking they would have coming here from a team like the Pirates. The Dodgers are handing the ball in this one to Walker Buehler, who's 1-3 on the season with a 4.32 ERA. So not exactly having the time of his life out there. His last start, he went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and 3 earned runs and a home run to the Colorado Rockies, and that wasn't even a game that was played in Coors Field, so he can't feel great about that. Probably also doesn't feel great about his team only being 2-3 over his last 5 starts. He has had one very good outing, but that was against the Reds. Other than that, he's given up at least 3 runs in each start, and he gave up 4 his last time out, and he hasn't exactly been facing a murderer's row either. Not that we would really regard the Pirates as a murderer's row, but still, the Dodgers bullpen has been good in general this season, but maybe not looking so hot here lately. I mean, if you're involved in a game where you give up 10 runs to the Pirates, that is not a great feeling. So can't feel too good about that. Also, the Dodgers bats seem to have fallen asleep. I mean, they did score 6 runs there, but in a 10-6 loss, scoring 6 doesn't look nearly as good as if you score 6 and, like a 6-2 or 6-4 win, something like that. So can't be too high here on the Dodgers offense, even though on paper they should be amazing. So I don't know. We're going to see what we get out of the Dodgers here going up against the Pirates, who come into this game winners of 2 straight, which has to feel good. They've won 3 out of the last 4. They're up to 29-32 on the season, and starting off a series against the Dodgers 2-0 probably isn't something they envisioned, but they will certainly take it. They're handing the ball in this one to Bailey Falter, who's 3-2 on the season with a 3.22 ERA, coming off of a dazzling start there against the Toronto Blue Jays, where he went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs. He walked 2 and struck out 5, so a solid outing there. Unfortunately, we did not see his team. The Pirates did not get the win there. They lost 5-3 in that one in extra innings. The start before that, he looked serviceable against the Atlanta Braves, 7 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs. That's not bad. Start before that, he dominated at Chicago, so a very good start there. And in general, Falter, he's just been pretty solid this year. I mean, not a lot of faults to find here with Falter. He's looking good out there. The Pirates bullpen in general, guys, a 3.85 bullpen ERA is nothing terrible. Obviously, they didn't look amazing there yesterday in relief of Skeens, but they found a way to get the job done and eventually close the door there on the Dodgers. And a team bullpen ERA of 3.85 will kind of get the job done, generally speaking. I don't think we're exactly going to be writing home about that bullpen, but overall, the real question marks for the Pirates has been their offense, and they just put up 10 runs. They put up 1 run in game 1 of this series and then 10 runs in game 2, so well done by them. This hasn't been a great offense in general this season. I mean, they did get off to that hot start, but that cooled off, and that's been over for quite some time. They're 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 26th in the majors in team batting average. Prior to this series, they did have a kind of mediocre well, maybe not terrible offensive series there at Toronto. I mean, they scored 4, 8, and 3 runs respectively, so I mean, take the good with the bad there, but this is not a super scary offense by any stretch, but they're not going up against a super scary starting pitcher, so, I mean, got to look at them as some potential here, and the Dodgers are minus 185 in this game, the Pirates are plus 160, we've got an over-under of 8.5. Guys, in general in this game, I'm not too interested in the over-under, kind of some mixed trends, and not a whole lot to go with. This is also just a very scary series that I feel like can go either way, but overall, I have to lean towards the Pirates plus 160 in this game. I mean, it seems like a stretch for them to win 3 in a row, but the Dodgers have definitely shown they're capable of going on, pretty terrible stretches of play, like looking really, really bad, and the Pirates have all the momentum on their side. They definitely are running the better starter out there, so give me the Pirates plus 160 in this game. I don't know if it's going to end up in the pinned comment, but betting against the Dodgers feels pretty nice at this point. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Atlanta Braves going on the road here to take on the Washington Nationals. We saw the Braves take the 9-0 loss in that day game yesterday against Boston. Did not see that coming. They're back home for this one to take on the Nationals, so maybe they can get back on track here. Handing the ball to Reynaldo Lopez, who's 3-2 on the season with a 1.73 ERA, coming off of a great start against the Oakland Athletics, where he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run while striking out 8 and walking 2. It was something of a bounce back after a questionable outing there at Pittsburgh, but we do see Atlanta is 3-2 over his last 5 starts, and they actually wasted a couple good starts from him in there. So overall, Lopez has been absolutely dealing this season, and when it comes time for him to hand the ball off to the bullpen, the Atlanta Braves bullpen has been top 10 in the majors pretty much all season long. I mean, they're currently 8th with a 3.50 bullpen ERA, so nothing wrong with that. And this team in general had been hitting the ball great coming into getting shut out at Boston, but I think we'll see them get back on track here. I mean, at least the odds would suggest they would score more than 0 runs in this game. They're 12th in the majors in runs scored, 8th in team batting average, batting .250 as a squad. They're getting on base at a .316 clip, which is also top 10. Like, this team definitely has all the makings of a top 10 offense, so I think that's more along the lines of what we're going to see from them in this game, going up against the Nationals, who lost 3 straight. They just got swept by the Mets. They ended that series losing 9-1, so that probably felt pretty bad. They're 27-34 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Mitchell Parker, who's 4-3 on the year with a 3.60 ERA, coming off of a mediocre, we'll say, start there against Cleveland back on the 1st of this month. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. So, yeah, not exactly a right home about type of start. I mean, he walked 4 and struck out 5. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in each of his last 4 starts, and he's got starts in there against he had a start against the Chicago White Sox where he went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, and a home run. Like, he's given up a home run in 3 out of his last 4 games. He's given up an average of 1 home run over his last 5 games, so that's not great. He just isn't looking amazing out there. Not terrible, not a complete disaster guy, but just not looking great. And in terms of their bullpen guys, the Washington Nationals have been pretty mediocre. I mean, I guess middle of the pack might be more accurate. I mean, 17th in the majors with a 3.94 bullpen ERA is not the end of the world, but it's also not great. Something that has been the end of the world at times for this team is their offense. They've scored 1, 3, and 7 runs in their series against the Mets. In their series before that against Cleveland, they didn't have a great time, and they did manage to win 3 out of 4 against Atlanta like a week ago or something like that. So I guess we'll slightly take that into consideration, but the Nationals do not come into this game swinging the hottest bats or playing their best ball. Looking at the numbers for this game in general, guys, we see the Braves at minus 170, the Nationals at plus 156, and we see an over-under in this game of 8.5. Washington is only 10-16 at home. Atlanta is 15-13 on the road, which is decent, not terrible. We also see Atlanta is a big under team, guys. They're 35-22-2 to the under. Washington is 31-26-4 to the under, so I think we have to give some consideration here to the under 8.5, but I'm more looking towards the Atlanta Braves minus 170. I think they find a way to get the job done in this game against Mitchell Parker, who's not really impressed me right now. Reynaldo Lopez is looking like an absolute monster. We don't have a lot of question marks about the Atlanta Braves bullpen. It seems very, very good. Honestly, guys, if you wanted to take a look at the Braves minus 1.5, you can get them at minus 110 if you take them at minus 1.5. That might be worth it, but I tend to look just towards the Braves minus 170. Maybe you put an extra unit on there to take care of the juice, because I think the Braves are going to win this game pretty comfortably. respectively. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the Minnesota Twins going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Twins come into this game losers of 2 in a row. I mean, they lost the first 2 games of the series. They lost 5-1 and then 9-5. We saw Aaron Judge have 5 RBIs in that Game 2 win. So, yeah, not a great look from the Twins. They're handing the ball in this one to Pablo Lopez, hoping he can stem some of the bleeding here. But he's 5-5 in the year with a 4.84 ERA. And yeah, guys, we don't have a ton of faith in him in this game, despite the fact he's coming off of a dazzling start. Well, maybe not dazzling, he gave up 6 hits, but only a single earned run over 7 innings there to the Houston Astros. But back on the 15th, he had a not great time against the Yankees, guys. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 10 hits, only 3 runs, 1 home run in there. But man, if you're giving up 10 hits to the Yankees, and yeah, not very safe. Not very safe. Pretty dangerous stuff, giving up 10 hits to the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. They are going to put up usually more than 3 runs there. So feels like he got away with one in that game. And in terms of handing the ball over to the bullpen, the Twins bullpen's been a little bit below average with a 4.11 bullpen ERA. So that's not great. They also haven't been hitting the cover off the ball. I mean, over their last 4 games, they've scored 5, 1, 4, and 2 runs respectively. Like, that is not great. We don't see anybody hitting the ball particularly well for them. I mean, yeah, just not a lot of positives here. Their team batting average is all the way down to 229. Team on base percentage is only 302. Like, this is not a great hitting team, and they don't really have any superstar guy that I think is going to carry them right now, and they're going to have to score some runs here going up against the Yankees, guys. The Yankees are an absolute machine right now. They're 44-19 on the season, coming off of their 7th straight win. So, yeah, Yankees absolutely killing it right now. They're handing the ball in this game to Marcus Stroman, who's 5-2 on the season with a 2.73 ERA. In his start against the Twins back on the 15th, he looked absolutely dominant. He went 6 innings, gave up only 2 hits, no runs. He walked 3 and struck out 2, so those walks are a little bit of concern always for him. But in general, the guy has looked very, very good this year, and the Yankees bullpen has been pretty much the best bullpen in the major leagues this season. I mean, they've been in that top spot in terms of bullpen ERA for quite some time, so can definitely rely on the bullpen here. And yeah, their hitting is just wild, guys. Absolutely crazy stuff. We see Judge just bonkers level killing it. I mean, he hit a triple. I didn't really know that Aaron Judge had those kind of wheels left in the tank, but yeah, made it to 3rd on that one. Quite the hit by him. Just absolutely killing it. Aaron Judge, 319 batting average, 21 home runs, 54 RBIs, and we see Soto killing it. We see Stanton killing it. Like, everybody up and down this roster, this is a murderer's row right here. So a lot of positives about this offense. Looking at the numbers for this game, I'm pretty confused, guys. We see the Twins at plus 125, the Yankees at minus 140. We see an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Minnesota's only 17-14 on the road. I say only, that's not a terrible road mark, guys, but the Yankees are 19-8 at home. And guys, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe this is a trap. We are slamming it here on the New York Yankees. I've got plenty of faith here in Stroman. I've got plenty of faith in the Yankees bats. I don't have that much faith in Pablo Lopez out there in general, and definitely not against the Yankees. So give me the Yankees minus 140 in this one. This is going to be my biggest bet of the day for sure. Next up, guys, within the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Cubs are actually playing right now against the Chicago White Sox. They're in the middle of the 9th inning with things tied up at 6 apiece. So there's some chance we could end up in a very, very deep hole for their bullpen here if they have to go into a like super extra innings game. So definitely keep track of that one. If we have to edit things, in the pinned comment, if things change and this game goes super late or something like that, we'll definitely do so. The Cubs come into this game 30-31 on the season. Not exactly having a great time. They're handing the ball in this one to Javier Assad, who's been really good this season, guys. He's 4-1 on the year with a 2.27 ERA, so absolutely nothing wrong with that. He hasn't been looking as sharp lately as he did in the early going, so I mean, his last time out, well, first of all, we've seen the Cubs lose his last 2 starts, so that's not great. His last time out, he went 5 1/3 innings against the Cincinnati Reds, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs. He struck out 7 and walked 3, but man, 3 walks isn't great, and over his last 3 games, he's walked 3, 3, and 5 hitters respectively. That is not what you're looking for from a guy like this. And his start on the 26th against the Cardinals, he went 5 innings, gave up 4 earned runs against a pretty light hitting opponent. So not super high on Assad with how he's been looking lately. Just not throwing the ball as well as he was. And the Cubs are a pretty average bullpen team, and they could end up with a depleted bullpen if this game goes deep into extra innings. So we'll have to wait and see on that. We also have to wait and see on the Cubs hitting. I mean, they have scored 7 and 6 runs respectively over their last 2 games, which is just major offensive production coming from them. I mean, not a team that's been hitting the ball particularly well this season in general. I mean, yeah, just not a lot of positives for this offense, guys. They are, if they get back to being a league average offense, I think they should be pretty happy. Their team batting average is 228. Their team on base percentage is only 310. Just not a lot of positives about this offense. Nobody really scares me for them. Yeah, not a lot of positives. Not a guy that's in love with the Cubs offense. They're going to need to score some runs here, taking on the Reds, who have actually been playing great. They just won their 4th straight game. They swept the Colorado Rockies at Colorado, so that's not bad. They're up to 21 29-33 on the season, so they're trying to make up some ground here in the NL Central. They're handing the ball in this one to Hunter Green, who's 3-2 on the year with a 3.44 ERA, coming off of a kind of middle-of-the-road start there against the Cubs. So that's a little bit concerning, guys. He went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 5 earned runs. He walked 5 and struck out 5 in that game, so obviously did not have his best stuff in a game that ended up being fairly high scoring. In general this season, guys, Hunter Green has been very, very good. I mean, his 4 starts before that problematic start at Wrigley Field, he looked good in back-to-back starts against the Dodgers and relatively good in back-to-back starts against the Diamondbacks also. So not a lot of bad things to say here about Hunter Green. He's pretty solid out there. In terms of their bullpen, though, the Cincinnati Reds just a little bit above average, so not terrible. Not a lot of terrible things to say about their bullpen either. I mean, a 3.88 bullpen ERA should work. The problem for this team is usually offensive production, but man, they were killing it in Colorado, so maybe the Coors Field effect was just what helped them. But man, 12 runs, 4 runs, and 13 runs in Colorado. That is not bad. In their series, they just played at Chicago only a few days ago. They scored 5, 5, and 5 runs respectively, so not bad there either. So looking at the numbers for this game for the Cincinnati Reds and Chicago Cubs, we see the Cubs at plus 110, the Reds at minus 130, and we see an over-under of 9 in this game. The Cubs are only 13-18 on the road. Cincinnati's not amazing at home, but guys, in general, I'm really looking towards the Reds minus 130 in this game. I think they're in a good spot here to beat up on Assad, who's been having a hard time lately, and Hunter Green's been very, very good. So I think we're going to be on the Reds minus 130 at home in this game. I feel like it's a very good spot for them, especially since they're going to be going up against a pretty tired Cubs team. Have to travel to Cincinnati, a short trip, but still a trip nonetheless. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Colorado Rockies going on the road here to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Rockies not having a great time right now, guys. They've lost 5 in a row. They're handing the ball to Cal Quantrill, who comes into this game 4-4 with a 3.84 ERA. He had a not great start his last time out. He was pitching at the Dodgers. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 9 hits and 4 earned runs, but his 4 starts before that have all been very, very good. I mean, he had a good 6-inning start there against the Phillies, where he went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. Against the Athletics, he went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. He just looked very good recently. Those ERA numbers are getting better and better. You can't really look too much into the win-loss record when you're pitching for a team like the Colorado Rockies. And in general, guys, the Rockies bullpen, not one that you would expect to have a great time, and they certainly aren't. They've got a 4.47 bullpen ERA, so nothing to write home about. Definitely well down there into the bottom third of the majors, so not a great bullpen. And the offense hasn't been looking great recently either. I mean, they did score 7 runs in their 12-7 loss, but how much credit are you going to give to a team scoring 7 runs at their home stadium, which is Mile High Coors Field? So yeah, not super high on this offense, and haven't really had any reason to be high on this offense this season. I mean, they're not the very bottom of the barrel, don't get me wrong, they're no Chicago White Sox, but they're also not great. I mean, 22nd in runs scored, 21st in on-base percentage. I mean, not a lot of guys on that roster that we're super scared to see, so definitely not looking at them as a plus-level offense. And they're taking on the Cardinals in this game, who are coming off of a win against the Houston Astros, and then they get to go back home to take on the Rockies, so probably don't feel bad about that. They also are probably pumped to be handing the ball to their ace, Sonny Gray, who's 7-3 on the season with a 3.00 ERA. He's kind of in a bounce-back spot, guys. He got knocked around a little bit by the Phillies his last time out, but it was the Phillies, so we'll cut him a little bit of slack there. He's looked very good when pitching at home. His last 2 home starts against Baltimore and against Chicago were both very, very reasonable, so definitely looking at Sonny Gray as a plus-level starting pitcher. No reason not to. In terms of their bullpen, the Cardinals aren't great. I mean, they're just out of the bottom third of the majors with a 4.14 bullpen ERA, so not a ton of positive things to say about that bullpen, but they haven't been a disaster, don't get me wrong, and it's not like they're facing the toughest pitching opponent in this game. So in general, guys, the question for me is going to be, what can the Cardinals offense produce here against Cal Quantrill and the Rockies bullpen? Obviously, I'm a lot higher on them producing against the bullpen than I am against the starter, but in general, guys, the Cardinals offense has not been good this season at all. I mean, 28th in runs scored, 19th in on-base percentage. We do see some numbers trending in a positive direction. We saw Arenado hit a home run there in their last game against the Astros, so that was very helpful, but we haven't seen a ton of good things from him or Goldschmidt this season, so not super high on the Cardinals offense. So looking at the numbers for this game, it's a little bit weird out there, guys. We see the Rockies at plus 200, the Cardinals at minus 220, and we've got an over-under in this game of 7.5. The Rockies are terrible on the road. Don't be wrong. They're 8-23 on the road. The Cardinals are only 13-12 at home, though, so that's not exactly dominant. The price on taking the Cardinals minus 220 isn't super appealing. Taking the Rockies plus 200 with Cal Quantrill out on the mound seems slightly more appealing, but also not great. In general, guys, this game's going to be kind of a pass for me. I think if you wanted to take a small flyer, maybe on the Rockies plus 200, you could. The Cardinals minus 220 is just too steep of a price for me, and in general, this is going to be a game I'm staying away from because I do expect the Cardinals to win this game the majority of the time. but the Rockies at 2-1 doesn't seem terrible either. So pretty much a stay away spot for me. If you want to take a flyer on the Rockies, I guess you could, but yeah, I will not be doing that. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Battle of the Sox. We've got the Boston Red Sox going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. Boston comes into this game fresh off of that weird 9-0 win there over the Atlanta Braves. Did not see that one coming. The Red Sox are now 31-31 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Tanner Houck, who's 5-5 on the year with a 1.85 ERA. He's coming off of a very good start against the Detroit Tigers, where he went 7 innings, gave only a single run, and struck out 6. Only allowed 3 hits over that 7 innings, which is very, very good, regardless of your opponent. His start before that was also very respectable against the Brewers. He had to pitch his way out of trouble a few times, but overall, definitely somebody we can look at as a above average. I'm not going to say quite plus level starter, but definitely above average. The Red Sox bullpen in general, guys, has not been good, though. They're 25th in the majors in bullpen ERA, so not super promising there when Houck eventually has to give the ball up. So we'll see how they do in this one. I mean, they're not going against a very good offense, so they've got a chance to put up some decent numbers. The Red Sox offense had not been putting up decent numbers until that 9-run outburst. This has been a pretty inconsistent and not great offensive team just in general. I mean, they're hovering around league average in most of the significant numbers. I mean, 13th in the majors in on-base percentage, also 13th in runs scored. Just not an offense that I'm looking at to put up a ton of runs on a regular basis. And they're going to have to score maybe not that many runs here, guys, going up against the White Sox, who come into this game fresh off of their 13th straight loss. They just lost 2 in a row to the Chicago Cubs. Lost both of those games 7-6, so they were right there in it. Obviously, honestly, having huge games from their offense there to score 6 runs, so it has to be pretty depressing to not win a single one of those games. They're handing the ball in this one to Jake Woodford. He's 0-1 on the season with a 6.23 ERA. He's only making his second start of the year. His first start did not go great against the Toronto Blue Jays. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 3 earned runs, so did not look amazing in that one. Not a lot of positives for him there. And the White Sox bullpen has actually been atrocious this year, something you would kind of expect given how bad their record is this season. Dead last with a 4.73 bullpen ERA, and we're not going to waste time talking about their offense, although they have come alive for 12 runs over their last 2 games, so not terrible. I mean, they've scored 6, 6, 3, and 3 runs over their last 4, so they're finding a way to score some runs, produce a little bit of offense here, but obviously not an offense I'm ever going to be high on as they continue to be dead last in all the major statistical categories. Look at the numbers for this game, guys. We see the Red Sox at -218. We see the White Sox at +190. We've got over-unders out there of 8 or 8.5. If you wanted to take Boston -1.5, if you've got a ton of faith here in Houck, taking a -1.5, you can get it up to -125, so I guess that's something. But in general, guys, I'm not super duper high on this game. I mean, if you're making me bet it, definitely give me the Red Sox minus that 1.5, because I think they've got a chance to come through with another comfortable win here. I mean, especially taking on a guy that didn't have a good time against the Toronto Blue Jays. So keep an eye on the pinned comment and see if this one finds a way to sneak its way in there. It's got some sort of chance, but -125 isn't the greatest price, and I think we've got some other good spots out there on the field, but just wait and see. It could end up in there. I don't have any faith here in Jake Woodford. Last but not least, guys, we've got the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Diamondbacks come into this game fresh off of that loss there, that 9-3 loss against San Francisco. They did win 2 out of 3 in that series, though. They've won 4 of their last 5 games overall, so all of that has to feel pretty positive for a team that's definitely had its struggles this year. They're 29-33 overall. They're handing the ball in this one to Slade Ciccone, who's 1-4 in this season with a 5.59 ERA. He's coming off of one of his better starts of the year. He had a good outing there against the Mets where he went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and a single run. He did give up a home run in that game. He's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 5 starts. He gave up 3 home runs against the Dodgers back on the 20th. Like, this dude, not exactly somebody I consider a plus level starter, and didn't look that great in his last outing. So yeah, not a lot of positive things to say about Ciccone. The Diamondbacks bullpen in general, guys, has not been great either. They're 23rd in the majors with a 4.30 bullpen ERA, so that's not amazing. Their offense didn't look great in their last game, but over their last 5, we'll say they've looked pretty decent. I mean, 3, 8, 4, 5, and 10 runs respectively. That's not too bad. They're 8th in the majors in runs scored, 9th in the majors in on-base percentage. This is a team that can kind of hit it a little bit, not well enough usually to out-carry their like terrible pitching. So not a lot of great things to look at as a Diamondbacks fan. They're taking on the Padres, who are also probably one of the most frustrating teams in the majors. We just saw Machado suffer a right leg injury, so I think it's pretty doubtful that he'll end up playing in this game. We see the Padres are currently down 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning in their current game, so yeah, just not a lot of good things happening for the San Diego Padres right now. I mean, if they lose this game to the Angels, they'll have gotten swept by the Angels. Yeah, they'll have lost their 4th straight game. They're only 32-32 on the year, Handing the ball in this one to Randy Vasquez, who's 1-3 this season with a 5.74 ERA. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in each of his last 3 starts. His last time out against the Royals, we at least saw the Padres get the win in that game, but it's the only game they've won where he started in his last 5 games, and he had 2 starts in there against the Colorado Rockies. So yeah, guys, just not a lot of positive things to say about the Padres right now. I mean, their bullpen in general hasn't been great. It's been around league average with a 3.91 bullpen ERA, and their hitting, even though it looks like it should be good on paper, definitely takes a hit with Machado out, and it hasn't been very good lately. I mean, over the last few games, they've scored 2, 1, and 3 runs respectively. They've only scored 2 runs in their current game, so offense not swinging the bats well. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Diamondbacks at plus 110, the Padres at minus 130, and an over-under in this game of 8.5. I think the over could be in play in this game a little bit, guys. I mean, we do see pretty much no trends from these two teams in terms of their likelihood to go over or under. I do also like the Diamondbacks plus 110 in this game with the Padres missing Machado potentially. So yeah, give me the Diamondbacks plus 110, but I don't think this is going anywhere near the pinned comment. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit the like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.